Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Depending on where you are in this world, God bless you. This is Gloria White coming to you from Utah, USA. Today we're going to continue in the New Jerusalem Holy Bible, and we are going to be reading the book of Tobit. Now, the book of Tobit. Tobit tells the reward of perseverance in good works. Tobit's devotion to the law and to the Jewish way of life is answered by God's watchful benevolence, as shown in the mission of the guiding angel who writes the family fortunes. The story is set in Nineveh, sometime in the Bible or during the exile. But details of history and geography are telescoped and are not important in the appreciation of the story. The book was written in circa 200 BC and existed only in Greek and Syriac translations until Hebrew fragments were recently found at Qumran, which is the Dead Sea Scrolls, where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. You know what? I've read Tobit to you guys. We have read Tobit. We have not read Nehemiah. Let's read Nehemiah. Let's just keep trying to gobble us up as much as we possibly can. I think the book of Nehemiah is a good idea. And how many pages are in Nehemiah? Nineveh. Tobit. Nehemiah is a pretty short book. There seems to be only 12 short chapters. Let's just read Nehemiah. Nehemiah presided from 445 until 433 BC over the restoration of the community and the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem, as Ezra was responsible for the religious regeneration and reform of the community after the exile. So Nehemiah was for organizing its security and establishing a sound administration, despite continuing opposition from the inhabitants of the surrounding towns. The book is composed by the chronicler, largely from a memoir of Nehemiah, but also with the help of various lists. So, now they've come from Exodus. They've made the Exodus from the exile, where they were exiled. And Ezra here is actually Esdras. And when we read 1st and 2nd Esdras, it is Ezra. You know, they give them different names depending on who the translator is, what language is being translated into the English. So that's why that you may see that change. Okay, the book of Nehemiah. Nehemiah's call, his mission to Judah. The words of Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah. It happened in the month of Chislev, in the 20th year, when I was in the citadel of Susa, when Hananiah, one of my brothers, arrived with some men from Judah. I asked them about the Jews, those who had escaped, and those who had survived from the captivity, and about Jerusalem, and they replied, the survivors remaining there in the province since the captivity are in very bad and demoralized condition. The walls of Jerusalem are in ruins, and its gates have been burnt down. On hearing this, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned, fasting and praying before the God of heaven. I said, Yahweh, God of heaven, the great and awe-inspiring God, who keeps a covenant of faithful love with those who love him and obey his commandments. Let your ear be sensitive and your eyes open to listen to your servant's prayer, which I now offer to you day and night on behalf of your servants the Israelites. I admit the sins of the Israelites, which we have committed against you. Both I and my father's house have sinned. We have acted very wickedly towards you by not keeping the commandments, laws, and rulings which you enjoined you enjoined on your servant Moses. Remember, I beg you, the promise which you solemnly made to your servant Moses. If you are unfaithful, I shall scatter you among the peoples. But if you come back to me and keep my commandments and practice them, even though those who have been banished are at a very sky's end, I shall gather them from there and bring them back to the place which I have chosen as a dwelling place for my name, since there are your servants, your people, whom you have redeemed with your mighty power and strong hand. O Lord, let your ear now be attentive to your servant's prayer, and to the prayer of your servants who want to revere your name. I beg you, let your servant be successful today, and win this man's compassion. At the time I was cupbearer to the king, in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, since I was in charge of the wine, I took the wine and offered it to the king. Now he had never seen me looking depressed before. So the king said to me, "Why are you looking depressed? You are not sick. This must be a sadness of the heart." Thoroughly alarmed by this, I said to the king, "May the king live forever. How can I not look depressed when the city where the tombs of my ancestors are lies in ruins, and its gates have been burnt down?" The king said to me, "What would you like me to do?" Praying to the God of heaven, I said to the king, "If the king approves, and your servant enjoys your favor, send me to Judah, to the city of the tombs of my ancestors, so that I can rebuild it." The king, with the queen sitting beside him, said, "How long will your journey take, and when will you come back?" Once I had given him a definite time, the king approved my mission. I then said to the king, "If the king approves, may I be given orders for the governors of the Trans-Euphrates to let me pass through on my way to Judah? Also an order for Asaph, keeper of the king's forest." Excuse me 1 second. Also an order for Asaph, keeper of the king's forest, and supply me with timber for the beams of the gates of the citadel of the temple, for the city walls, and for the house which I am to occupy. These the kings granted me because the kindly hand of my God was over me. When I reached the governors of Trans-Euphrates, I gave them the king's orders. The king had sent an escort of army officers and cavalry along with me. Then Sanballat, the Horonite, and Tobiah, the official of Ammon, heard about this. They were exceedingly displeased that someone had come to promote the welfare of the Israelites. The decision to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. And so I reached Jerusalem. After I had been there 3 days, I got up during the night with a few other men. I had not told anyone what my God had inspired me to do for Jerusalem. Taking no animal with me, other than my own mount. Under cover of dark, I went through the valley gate towards the dragon's fountain, as far as the dung gate, and examined the wall of Jerusalem, where it was broken down and its gates burned out. I then crossed to the fountain gate and to the king's pool, but it was impassable to my mount. So I went up the valley in the dark, examining the wall. I then went in again through the valley gate, coming back without the officials knowing where I had gone or what I had been doing. So far I had said nothing to the Jews, neither to the priests, the nobles, the officials, nor any other persons involved in the undertaking. I then said to them, "You see what a sorry state we are in. Jerusalem is in ruins, and its gates have been burned down. Come on, we must rebuild the walls of Jerusalem and put an end to our humiliating position." And I told them how the kindly hand of my God had been over me, and the words which the king had said to me. At this they said, "Let us start building at once." And they set their hands to the good work. When Sanballat the Horonite, and Tobiah the official of Ammon, and Geshem the Arab heard about this, they laughed at us and jeered. They said, "What is this you are doing? Are you going to revolt against the king?" But I gave them this answer: "The God of heaven will grant us success, and we, his servants, mean to start building. As for you, you have neither share nor right nor memorial in Jerusalem." And we'll stop there, and we'll pick up in chapter 3 tomorrow, God willing. And I think this is going to be a very interesting book. What do you think? Comments in the section down below. Sometimes, you guys, once in a while, someone will write something there, and I'm always like, "Oh, look, Marla said something," or, "Oh, look, Jacqueline said something," or, "Oh, there's Joe again. There's Ladra. Oh, and there's Joe. My Joe that you know is still in my prayers, baby doll. So sorry for what happened to your brother. I know you're still breaking your heart, but it'll get better in time. I'm still with you in spirit, sweetheart. And as always, I love you.